Good afternoon, everyone. This is Casey Reginald Jr.
It's your man J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
I'm back. And it's Omar Diggs. What's up?
This is UnderDawg Sportz. Welcome to the show, everyone, and as you heard in the intro, we can welcome back fully recovered Mr. Omar Diggs.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you. Glad to be back, man. It was rough. I didn't say that much.
Yeah, like those sound effects? Yeah. We got a lot to cover today, including the return of the Versus episode starring basketball for once, and the Last Dance will be featured in our show as well. But before we get started, a big announcement was made by the NBA this morning as the salary caps will go down in the 2020-2021 season. How's that going to play with the players, guys?
Omar, go ahead. You got first.
Okay. So it's going to, the first thing that it's going to do is, I believe you guys studied, it's going to talk about in terms of the super team. Because I honestly think it's going to be more so of who's willing to take that pay cut for the championship, you know what I'm saying, for that ring. Like, we all know the ring is, you know, the almighty of things to get. But who's, like, with a LeBron, for example, a LeBron-esque type player, or a Zion Williams, I should say, take a pay cut to pay with two future Hall of Famers, like, you know, has done in the past. So I could see that being the biggest issue. Like, who's willing to commit?
The biggest factor for me seeing this was, like, to go ahead, like Omar, piggyback off of what he's saying, is also, one, who is willing to go ahead and take a pay cut. But two, with that being said, the NBA usually does things in parts. So they'll announce one part, then another, then another. Does this mean that possibly the NBA could be a lessened season to go ahead and now that would fit the salary cap? I mean, if you really think about it, if the NBA season starts back up in June, they could be playing well into July, even to August, which means training camp in September wouldn't happen, preseason October wouldn't happen, November definitely ain't going to happen, which makes me feel they're going to December. I think this may be a trend that the NBA is trying to do to just get people prepared for maybe a lessened 2020-21 season, or just this is the new regime where the season's going to start later.
Well, Adam Silver's been on record for saying he wants the season to start on Christmas Day.
Right.
That's what he wants. I think the COVID really helps him out in his agenda. It's going to be easy to slide these games back to Christmas now, considering the players are a month and a half behind, almost 2 months behind at this point. So I think that is going to happen. I think the bigger news is what you all said about the super team, but it's only going to be for, I guess, a year, depending on if they can get fans back in the stadiums. A lot of this is coming from the fact that they're losing money. They're losing revenue every game, every day right now without having fans in the stands. That's going to continue throughout this season, I think. That's kind of the rumor. So with that revenue being lost around that league, then I think the salary cap is just going to go down for the 1 year. It will depend on if we can get fans back in those seats next year.
Very good point. My biggest question is does this eliminate the Supermax contracts now? Does now 5 years, 250, 225 contracts at least for a year? Because people fail to realize the next big free agent that's coming out is Yanis. And I'm pretty sure somebody in the market is going to be wanting to pay him max dollars, whether it's Milwaukee. Well, yeah, it'd have to be Milwaukee for the max, the super max. But then, you know, another team may be willing to pay $210 if Giannis doesn't want to stick up there. Because Giannis, Bradley Beal, and actually Anthony Davis are the next big ones up.
Well,
and possibly LeBron. He has an opt-out.
Yeah, Davis ain't going anywhere as long as LeBron stays home.
Correct.
I'm glad you brought up Giannis. I know we didn't put this in the agenda, but he had some some rather controversial tweets come out of his Twitter this week that he says he was hacked. Did you get a chance to catch any of that?
Now, what were some of them?
Oh man, I actually looked them up on YouTube earlier. One of them was LeBron tried to have him killed, and obviously he had some racist things. They had some racist things to say, like the Bucks. If he don't score 60, they're calling him the N-word, stuff like that. So I think it's pretty clear he was hacked, unless he was really, really drunk. Talking about doing Steph Curry's wife, like either he got hacked or he was really, really drunk. I don't know. I've not seen someone tweet and say they got hacked and they really got hacked so far. I think everyone that said they got hacked eventually ended up owning what came out of their Twitter account. So that's what scares me about this.
See, the only thing is I see if he got hacked like that, usually when you see crazy hacks like that, i.e. Kevin Durant, it's usually those ones is where they trying to get out of town. So it's like a PR nightmare. With Giannis, it just doesn't seem like that guy's personality like that. So that's the thing when I did see it, I was like, it's kind of surprising because this don't seem like that dude. Now, again, like you said, in today's world, he could have been stupid drunk and just saying anything. Or, I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's him, his girl, and two of his four brothers that are all up there. Could have been his brothers. We don't know. But it just, to me, when I seen that, I was like, I just don't see him doing it. Especially now he's starting to be the face of the NBA. Remember, this year he was the highest vote getter in the All-Star game, including higher than LeBron and Curry. That's why I was like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. What you got, Omar?
I was going to say, I agree with all of the only one that I could be like, you might have said it would be the Aisha Taylor comment. But
Curry.
Again, based on him and his character, I mean Curry, based on his, who we know him to be, this don't sound like, you know what I'm saying, nothing he would actually say.
I just wanted to throw it out there because it was news this week, and I didn't want to cover it, but you had said his name, so it made it easy for me to get there.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to knock that out really, really fast. I think the other biggest news right now, I'm not going to talk about the 4 facilities that opened yet. I'll save that for the last headline. I want to talk about this rumor in Houston and Mike D'Antoni possibly being out. We've heard everything from Jeff Van Gundy to Tom Thibodeau. Is it over for D'Antoni in Houston?
Remember, they said they didn't re-sign him because that was the biggest deal. His contract's up at the end of this season. So unless they make it honestly to at least the conference finals again, I don't see him coming back. So this could be the end-all, be-all, the start of the end of the D'Antoni wave, and now on to something else.
Omar, anything?
Yeah. No, I mean, I pretty much agree to that, but I'd also like to add this. Like, if they were to do Tom or Van Gundy, if those are the only two that they're even considering, then it would be curious to see which coach they would go with because their systems are a bit are a bit different. So it will be interesting to see how Houston would play with a Tom Tibb who's a defense-minded or a Jeff Van Gundy who's kind of like, hey, whatever whatever wins us the game is what we'll do. And I think if anything, they probably would end up going with him, but Tom would be a better fit for a winning organization if you can get our players to commit. So, it could be the end for him. Plus, he was having he's about to be 60? He's 69, and with the health issues that they were having, which is why they was like, is he even gonna come back if the league starts back up? So, yeah, it could be the end. Yeah.
So here's my thing on this. Do I think that the D'Antoni era is coming to an end? Absolutely, especially if they don't run the table this year. Furthermore, this is my take from this on personnel. This would be James Harden's third head coach. And he ain't been to the finals yet. Nonetheless, won a championship.
Actually, if you think about it, technically his fourth head coach.
You talking
Mikel, JB, him, and this would be technically
I don't
fourth.
count JB because he was interim. He just took over during that season. He didn't come back that next year. But technically, yeah, you're right. This is 4. This would be his 3rd primary head coach. And he's not even been to the NBA Finals. Yes, he's won an MVP. Yes, he's a leader in the league as far as scoring and assists every year. Hell, steals too, for that matter. But he has not been able to get over the hump. You can fire coaches until you're blue in the face. Coaches help you, but players win championships.
Mm-hmm.
And James Harden has not shown that he deserves to be the face of a 3rd head coach.
So let me ask you this question real quick. When you mentioned the 2 names in Thibodeau and Van Gundy, their biggest factors was defense on both of them. Van Gundy even going back to his Rockets days where him and Steve Francis, then him and Tracy beef because of slowing down the ball. Remember, Van Gundy's days at the Knicks were the defensive juggernaut, but they didn't average no more than probably like 85 points a game versus the Rockets, 85. They would get 85 at halftime. My biggest factor is would you bring in a coach that can fit the up-tempo offense that basically has been going on for the last at least 4 or 5 years with DAntoni, or do you change it all? Because Harden is a
scorer,
one-and-gun type. He's a scorer who likes to run the ball. Russ definitely loves to run the ball.
See, I don't agree with that. Harden is a walk it up, and I want to really isolate you until you fall asleep, and I go past you. Like the only reason their pace of play is picked up because of Russ. Harden is always been notoriously slow. Like it takes him literally the entire 8 count to get across half court.
Hey, to quote Charles Barkley, dribble, 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 dribble.
Exactly.
Dribble, 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 dribble.
True.
That was perfect.
That's what he
I
do.
don't see neither one of those guys as a good fit for. Like I said, I didn't. The Van Gundy one was kind of odd to me because he didn't have a good ending with the Rockets.
Well, they've been flirting with him for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I know. I really think they should go after Mark. The Mark Jackson thing is still beyond crazy. I really think he should be back coach.
I've been saying
he's been blackballed. No, he's blackballed. You can say it.
Yes, I agree.
He's blackballed.
Man. No, I'm not. That's my guy. Like you could put him in anywhere. Give him 5 years to build it. If he goes to whatever, if he can go to Chicago. Let's say he can go to Chicago.
We did not miss the Bulls.
Hold on. No. I'm just saying like a bad team. And Chicago's a bad team right now. I could say Golden State, but, that's just systematic because of injuries. So you can put Mark Jackson on a bad team. Give him 5 years. I could give Mark, if he was to
3.
beat Houston. Huh?
3 years.
Yeah, 3. Not NBA, they ain't gonna give him nobody 5 years no more.
He'll have 3.
College don't give people 5 years anymore.
He might make it. He might make it to 3. You see what they do? It's like wasn't it your coach that didn't make it half a season?
Hey, man. So many coaches didn't make it 5 years, 2 years, whatever. But what I'm saying is, I think Mark Jackson has earned the right to be put in a situation like Doc Rivers. Like where you be the head coach and, the general manager of that team.
Bro, you saying that because you're part of our culture, but that ain't how the NBA looks at it. That's why he.
Yeah. No. I totally, yeah. But I'm just saying, just based on what I've seen and what he's done, I feel he deserves that.
You always got to keep in mind, Doc Rivers earned that because he got a chip.
That's true.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. They removed Mark Jackson before he could. He was on his way.
Bro, we understand that. You, me, Justin, we all understand that. But the league is going to tell him, you ain't got that. You got 3 years.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother beat right there when you go against the league.
Colin Kaepernick of coaching as far as the NBA is concerned.
And I don't get it. Like, he wasn't exactly like Black Power when he was coaching, so why is he being Kaepernick?
But here's another thing to consider. I mean, we may know or we may not know. Does he want to be a head coach?
Yeah, he just had he said a statement 2 days ago.
Yeah, his
shit.
problem was a lot of management did not like the fact Mark Jackson's also a preacher, and they did not like the fact that sometimes he would make his players go to like Bible study and stuff like that. Because you got some kids that they don't believe in that, and some players that's their thing. But he always would tell them whatever religion you are, Muslim, Christian, Baptist, whatever, he just think you should go ahead and have time, like a prayer time, that rubbed management the wrong way. And even after they told him to stop doing it, he kept it, and that's what it went left on that. Even the players said they didn't complain about it. They would go, or you know what I mean. But again.
Yeah.
One thing with management, if they don't like it, they're going to go ahead and scrap you. And they just found that excuse Mark.
Yeah, all you got to do is take a look at Phil Jackson and Jerry Thompson.
We're getting there. Come on, Bulls guy. Let us get there.
He got a point.
I know, but still, I got to keep him on. We got to keep him on a short leash because he'll go deep down that rabbit hole.
Nah, it'll take for a second, but go ahead, Justin, man.
Yeah, but you got a point there. We'll talk about Phil later, but the Zen Master himself would have his own meditation time. You see that on the documentary, but we will get there with that. But again, we're going back to the Rockets. I don't know who's a good fit with them with this team.
Yeah, I keep saying that, but I keep arguing like no guarantee that it's still James Harden's team. That's like if he gets this up, if another coach is gone, the general manager has to look at the players. You can't go through 3 coaches and it be just the coaches. You just can't do that.
Exactly.
I think like if they were to go, I think Tom would be the better fit. Like second to Mark Jackson, but I think Tom would be a good fit as a head coach.
Well, you can X Jackson because Houston ain't doing that.
So here's the thing with Tom Thibodeau, real quick. Remember, Tom is the one that goes ahead and makes and pushes his players during practice. That's why
it's his team.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Team,
when Tom Thibodeau is your coach, it's his team. Your general manager is a general manager if he keeps his job.
Because remember, the only player that liked it when he was in Chicago was Noah and Butler. Rose hated it.
Yes, he did.
And that started a rift. And so they got rid of Tom there. And then,
but they were winning though.
They were winning.
Exactly.
They could have won a title if Derrick Rose didn't get hurt.
Right. Yeah. But Derrick Rose, one of the reasons why he got hurt was because Tom was pushing him too much. When Tom got to Minnesota, Towns and they got Jimmy Butler, but then Towns and Wiggins didn't like that, even though
Wiggins
Jimmy
is like a 7th option now in his career.
Right. So, you know what I mean? Luckily, there's a couple more busts that came before him, but as a number 1 pick, you got traded. You're already on your 3rd team, technically. But again, that's why I was like, I don't know if Tom Thibodeau will be the one because he's going to push the shit out of Harden and Russ. It may not be Russ may not complain about it, but I guarantee you Harden will because that's just not how he wants to play. He's not going to practice that hard in practice.
Harden would be traded but by the All-Star break. Hell, I don't. And the only reason Harden, if Thibodeau was the coach, Harden would be traded by the All-Star break. And the only reason I'm giving it to the All-Star break, I'm gonna guess, is because of the Christmas starting date. Other than that, I would say before then. But if Thibodeau was the coach, he would quit on that team.
Honestly, I don't even see Harden even retire. When he retires, I don't see him in Houston in a Houston jersey though. I think he's either gonna get traded or demand one.
Long as
he's gonna test free agent option. Free agency and see who's gonna offer that money. I think if more money, depending on the amount of money, he leaves.
I thought about that, but here's the thing: Houston's the only city that basically gave Harden the keys to the car and let him do whatever he want to do. He's going to go if he goes to another city that's a contender. They may not be as willing. And then think about it: all the playoff contending teams have an alpha dog that Harden won't fit with. You can't put him in L.A. You can't put him in Portland. Maybe Denver. I don't know.
But that's just it, though. It's not a matter of if they trade him to a contender or if he decides to go to a contender. If he's traded, I don't think it's going to be to no. It might. Who knows where he's going to get traded if he was to get traded
in Orlando.
But when it came to when it comes to teams where it's already stars, you're right, 100%. If he won't be he won't be that guy. But you go to Indiana, you can go to Orlando, shit, you go to Chicago, you can go to who else? Washington.
The Chicago, they're not going to do nothing either but sell more tickets. But as far as winning is concerned, they won't be. They'll be a little bit better than what they are, but it's even in the East, aka the East, they still won't. Harden is not it. Harden's
no, definitely.
This is T-Mac.
All right, folks, that's the bell. We're moving on from Harden, okay?
Let's go. Let's roll.
Moving on, the last headline we have today is, we kind of touched on this Wednesday, the Blazers, Nuggets, Rockets, Kings, and Cavs have all opened their facilities. And now the rules for reopening these facilities does not tend to favor getting back to basketball anytime soon. I believe it's no more than 4 players in the building at one time, and then only 1 player on a hoop at a time, and the other 2 players have to be in the training room or doing conditioning or something. So it's not exactly about building chemistry and playing basketball, but those facilities have opened, and it gives us hope that basketball is returning.
Well, it gets them back into some type of a shape, because for 2 months, a lot of these guys haven't been able to see outside of probably the gyms at their house, haven't really been able to do anything, or probably have not. I was joking around with a friend of mine saying most of these guys got to go ahead and still pass drug tests as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. They've been stuck in their house. They've been stuck in their house for...
Here's another question. Yeah. Do you think they would test them for that?
I hope not.
I mean, no. I mean, I'm sorry. Let me retake. Like, when I test, I mean, like, they're going to test them for, like, steroids and stuff like that. But if marijuana or something showed up in their system, depending on what it was, do you really think that would keep them from playing? Considering the situation?
Yeah, considering the situation, I think they would have a labor nightmare behind testing right now. I really do. I think they would have a player revolt, and we might have a walkout on our hands, like, seriously, because they've been stuck in their house for 2 months. Of course they've been getting high.
Yeah, 1. And then 2, a lot of them could easily be like, well, because they, weed is like medicinal now, so they might be saying, I'm I'm nursing injuries, and this is helping with the pain versus taking the opioid, and I don't want to have that addiction. So this was an alternative that I was offered, and, so that was, what I'm saying? Like, I thought about that, but that'd be a good question.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing is when they have a medicinal drug or opioid or something, they got to report that to the league instantly, like saying, hey, I'm taking XYZ drug. Because I know they do that with the NFL. I know a couple cats when I was growing up, they had if they took a special drug that might be banned, i.e. creatine, like with Shannon Sharp, they had to tell it. And if they don't, then they're in a whole bunch of trouble. But I agree. I think it'd be a nightmare if you go ahead and test them. I just thought it'd be funny. I'm like, unless they're a repeat offender. If they got a guy that's been smoking weed before, I guarantee they'll be tested. So those guys may be in trouble. Other than that, hell, they may play better high. Go for it.
The only other thing that I did hear is because the league has said and have continuously repeated, and part of the reopening thing included a 1 site or 1 to 2 site arenas. The players union, the NBPA, has said that sounds like incarceration to them because they would basically isolate the players from their families, and like we heard about surveillance in this article. Is this real? Like, are they really thinking about going to this extreme?
I mean, go ahead. Okay, you got it. No, I'm just gonna say. I mean, until they figure out exactly what this is, they have to take extreme measures.
But surveillance.
Yeah, well, I mean, hold on. I mean, I say that's a bit much. It would always be like, just trust your players and allow that. But we all know sometimes,
and test them. You don't have to trust them. Test them when they come back. Like, but surveillance.
Now, here's the thing, though. They were supposedly have been testing them during this time that's out.
So the surveillance thing is extreme. Having it in the same city, the only reason why I think that's a good idea is because when you got California and New York, and even though the New York team may not make it, but
and Washington, those are all hot zones too.
Right, but there ain't nothing in Washington. DC ain't going nowhere. They suck. But the New York teams, and they suck too. But Cali, with possibly 3 teams. Well, no, 2. Both LA teams will definitely be in the playoffs, like it or not. That's a West Coast ground zero. You would want to be away from them. So having it in Vegas, where Vegas is still pretty much shut down, or Orlando at Disney World was shut down. When I seen them complain about that aspect, I'm like, well, 3-4 years ago, 10 years ago, when y'all were in college, for the exception of like Braun and a couple others that went straight to the high school, y'all had to do it for the NCAA tournament. Y'all was in a city for 2 weeks during the tournament where y'all couldn't leave and go nowhere because the whole tournament was there until you moved to your next destination.
I got you, Dub, but if I'm
what's the big idea?
But I got you, Dub. I'm on your side here, but I'm going to argue the other side real fast. If I'm a wife, I've been married to LeBron James for 10 years, and 3 months away, completely away with nothing, or hell, 30 straight days without seeing you because we're all quarantined apart, is like, that's a bit much.
I agree.
30 days is better than death.
I got you. I understand what you're saying, but the players...
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
The players are saying that's a long time to be away from their families. That's what the players are saying. They don't know if it's worth it for being away from their families that long. Well, no, because they're quarantined.
Yeah, but with today's ways of communication, they can, like 30 days is nothing if you're just doing FaceTime. And I mean, it's ways around it, but yeah, I don't see why, what I'm saying, they would consider that. I say I'm cool with it. Like, what's 30 days? Like, you were, like, for example, me and my wife, I was quarantined down here. She was quarantined upstairs. Even though we were in the same vicinity, we was in like 2 different spaces, and we still was able to do just fine. And plus, you don't want to. Oh, okay, this must come out bad. But yeah, if I'd have been in the same space with her for 30 days with staying in the house, she getting on my nerves now. So come on, no, I'm not buying that.
I hope she's not going to listen to this episode.
Yeah, no, this ain't reference to him. I'm just saying you get tired of seeing somebody after 30 days straight. No break, just no break you get from seeing them is going to another room or going to the bathroom.
The only thing I can see is why the players don't want to do it is because the fact of the matter is, because you can bring their families along. You can have like a 10 whatever. If they shutting down a whole city, if you got Vegas and none of them hotels is open, that's where the NBA families go. Orlando's the same thing. I live down there, so it ain't nothing but hotels unless you in the hood. Problem is some of these guys have been quarantined so long now to do quarantine 2.0, so going from hotel to gym to them without having the luxuries of what they had at their home, that's probably what's going to drive them insane. And I get that, but, hey, y'all want to end the season. LeBron right now, he don't care. He want to end the season because he's right now on top outside of Milwaukee. But some of these other guys, I can understand, like, look, man, I'd rather do this to the comfort of my own home. But I'm agreeing with the NBA to make it safe because they can quarantine one area versus 30 cities. They can quarantine one area for these players to play, and then once they eliminate, it's on y'all. You get quarantined or whatever the hell the case is, it's on y'all. But at least for the time being, we can track it. So this way, it can't spread. Because here's the biggest issue: we still can't pin down who gives it to who. If you with your family and open up the market and then you get COVID, then you fly to Orlando, now the team gets COVID, we got to quarantine the whole team? Come on, man. They got to think smarter about this if they want to continue on this season.
That'll have to be the last word on that topic. And now we're going to transition to what should be Omar's home run zone. We're going to talk about Michael Jordan's Last Dance documentary. Where do you want to start off with this, Omar? You want to talk about the depth of the dynasty? Could this Bulls team today compete? Or the transition from bigs to littles?
Yeah, it's up to y'all, man. I'm good either way.
Oh, this is your area, bro.
It's your, man.
Either
way, I'm going to talk Bulls. You know what I'm saying? All right, we can start with, let me look at this. Okay, that's a dynasty. All right, we can talk with why, we go take it from the top. Talk about Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson. You want to?
So tell us, why did Jerry Krause decide that he did not want to rehire Phil Jackson?
Okay. Let me shake this off. All right. So Phil Jackson has this philosophy of a head coach only has 5 years with their players to buy into the system. Once the 5 years is over with, it falls off on deaf ears. He was quoted as saying, that he only wanted to coach 7 years. So wait a minute, take a step back. So he was only going to do 5 years, but his contract was for the 7. So then he was coaching, and he said that he wanted a new team. Like, so after 3 years, he wanted new teams. So if you pay attention from the 6 times that they won, championships, each roster was different. Like, not completely, but like he was at Phil Jackson to the point where